सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। We have studied till now. The I and what is the nature of that I in relation to the prefix and suffix, etc. The pure I is the self, and that pure I doesn't leave you at all. In fact, doesn't leave you means it is there all the time, you don't know it, you don't recognize it. So the pure I, without qualification, without modification, is the Supreme Self, God. An entire analysis is done based on this in the Upanishad called Kenopanishad. There are many Upanishads does this study analysis, and one such Upanishad is Kenopanishad, and that's what we are going to study now. Before we go into the Upanishad, or all Vedantic literature, you find all Vedantic literature, you find in the form of a dialogue, conversation. Technically, it is called Samvada. Technically, it's called Samvada. Vada means argument, discussion, and wherever there is argument, wherever there is discussion, it will be. Wherever there is argument, wherever there is discussion, what happens? It turns heated, isn't it? That's why it's called heated argument. Heated argument means group discussion. Vada means group discussion. Where it turns heated, it turns into, I don't know what all it turns into. It's called Vada argument. Here the discussion is Samvada, it is called. A reverential argument, a reverential discussion. Reverential discussion in the sense the knowledge, the book is kept at the center, and your understanding is not the center. That is Samvada. Again, I repeat. Samvada means the book is the center, not your understanding. Why your understanding is not the center? Why your understanding can never be the center? Because it is subject to change. It's not complete. Therefore, Samvada means the book is kept at the center. Upanishad is kept at the center for study and discussion purposes. Here, one Upanishad we are studying. What is that? Kenopanishad. So first, the Upanishad sets the environment correct. The atmosphere is set up first. Before we start the class, the atmosphere has to be set, no? Isn't it? The chair, the table, the light, the AC, close the windows. Before you start, the atmosphere has to be set. So first you set the environment, the atmosphere. That atmosphere, that environment is called reverential respectful dialogue, keeping the Upanishad as the center. And then what happens? It starts with a Shishya asking a question and the Guru answers the question. This is where this is how traditionally it always happens. So someone comes and asks a question and there will be an answer. The only difference here is in Bhagavad Gita, we will find Arjuna Uvacha and then we will find Bhagavan Uvacha. So you know very clearly who's asking the question and who is answering. In the Upanishad, there will not be any Uvacha and all. You need to understand who's asking the question and who is answering the question. So there is no Uvacha here. In Kenopanishad, we do not know the name of the Guru and we do not know the name of the student. For example, the other Upanishad that we study, Mundaka Upanishad, we know the name of the student, we know the name of the Guru. Shaunaka is the student, Angirasa is the Guru. Ashwalayana is the student, Lord Brahma is the Guru. Nachiketas is the student, Yama is the Guru. We know the names of the student and the Sishya. In Kena Upanishad, we do not know that. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because what we are mattered is the discussion. The question that is asked itself indicates the preparation of the student. So the question that you ask indicates the preparation. Preparation implies simple, crystal, precise. That's what preparation means. Preparation means it is precise, it is simple, it is clear. Then only it is called prepared. You have come prepared. Lot of training and logic and reason and all that is given so that the student knows how to prepare the question and come. You find those kind of questions happening in the Upanishads. In Bhagavad Gita, you will find a question not a Bhagavad Gita question is not a prepared question. So what do you find there? The student talking for 1 hour. When the student is not informed, when the student is not prepared, the student will speak for an hour question. At the end of it, the student doesn't understand the question, the teacher doesn't understand the question, and any answer that is given, nobody understands what the question is, nobody understands what the answer is. It will be exactly like our classes. Yeah. So a question that comes with a student who comes prepared. All the Upanishadic questions are like that. A question that has come from an informed student who has done a lot of study and research and then coming and asking a question. We'll set the background and then we'll read the text, we'll read the explanation. That's what we are going to. If Guru requires communication skill, student requires it much more than the Guru. That's why the study of Tarka, Mimamsa, logic, reason, methodology of logic, reason, analysis, all that is taught so that your communication is precise. The trouble is you think you are communicating rightly. Everybody thinks they are communicating rightly, only the other doesn't understand. We always believe that I am saying it rightly, the other doesn't understand. The indication of preparation is, it is precise, it is simple, not more than 2 sentences, not more than 3 sentences. Then only it's a question. You can't give a huge preamble to the question and ask the question. Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna did that in Bhagavad Gita. That's why I'm comparing. What did Arjuna do in Bhagavad Gita? He gave a law, he gave so much of introduction to the question. And by the time he gave introduction to the question, we get fatigued. And we have no time for the answer. So, the Shishya, the student here, has done some research, some study, some analysis, and comes and asks the question. Since the question themselves are so precise and so well studied and targeted, we need to elaborate the question first. So we have to elaborate the question and we will elaborate the answer, both. So we elaborate the question and we elaborate the answers. What is the analysis that the student has done and come? What is the answer that the guru is giving is the study. So first we will see what the student has done analysis, and then we find out what the answer is. What is the analysis that the student has done? In order to analyze, you need data. In order to gather data, you have to be observant. An observing student who has gathered data analyzes and asks a question. So it means observation. A student is one who is very observant. And normally you don't find many students like that because everybody is caught up in their own. Everybody is mentally caught up in their own preoccupations. Everybody is so concerned and worried about their own preoccupations that there is no objective, impartial observation that happens. Because of the impartial, objective observation not happening, the data that you gather also is not. So the observation is not right, the data that you have is not right, and the conclusion that you have is also. And the questions that you ask out of that will be what? What will be the nature of the, what will be the quality of the question? Very poor questioning. And when the question is poor, the answer also. The question is poor, what will be the answer? You can't have an extraordinary answer. The answer also will be poor. And then you will say, this is not what I asked. I asked something. I asked something else. This is not what I asked. I asked something else. Therefore, here the student has done an observation. Based on that observation, he gathered some data. He did some research. He did some analysis on his own. And then coming and asking this question. What is the analysis he did? What is the observation and what is the observation and what is the analysis? First observation, the world. The first observation is about the world. What is the world? It is an object of experience. First observation, it is an object of experience. Second, it is made up of matter, material. It is made up of some material. First is object of experience. Second is it is made up of some material. What is the material it is made up of? The 5 elements. The third one is the 5 elements go through this permutation combination, Nama Rupa. These 5 elements go through this permutation combination of Nama Rupa, and then it has its own individual quality attribute. So one is the basic material with which it is made up of, and then the individual Nama, the specific Nama Rupa. The fourth one. The fourth one and the fifth one. The fourth one is Anityaha, it is subject to change. The fifth one is Agamapayinaha, they come and go. All this, the student doesn't learn from the guru. The student finds out by oneself. If you don't find out by yourself, don't worry. The Shastra will teach that also. We don't find that out by ourselves now. We can't find it out by ourselves. Why we can't find it out by ourselves? Because we are so preoccupied. Everybody's preoccupied with something, isn't it? Somebody is preoccupied with the business, somebody is preoccupied with the family, somebody is preoccupied with. A student will be preoccupied with. The student will be preoccupied with the student world. What is happening in the class? Who is talking to me? Who is not? Who is not talking to me? Who says good morning to me? Who doesn't say good morning to me? The student will be preoccupied with the student world. The business person will be preoccupied with the business world. The family person is preoccupied with family world. So everybody is so preoccupied in their own world. And this preoccupation is called samsara. This preoccupation is called samsara. Why it is called samsara? Because you cannot get out of it. Even though superficially you say, I want to get out of it, deep down you don't want to get out of it. Even though everybody says superficially, I want to get out, I want to get out, I want to get out. If you really want to get out, nobody can stop you. The fact is you don't want to get out. Even though superficially you keep saying, I want moksha, sir. I want self-realization. You have to go to the supermarket and find out only where they are selling self-realization and buy it. So you are preoccupied with your own world. Because of this preoccupation, you are not able to objectively see your preoccupation. Who is the student here? A student has objectively seen one's own preoccupation, understood that, and comes out and asks something meaningful, deeper. This is Upanishad. And here we are going to study one of the tough Upanishads, Kena Upanishad. Since we are going to study the Upanishad and he is quoting the Upanishad directly, we are used to Bhagavad Gita style, no preambles before we go into the text. And people say, sir, those preambles are better than the text, sir. Yeah. We are used to that. So what is the student did? Student has found out everything is matter. It has no life. Everything is matter, no life. What is matter? No life. You see a statue. You see a statue with a stick. A statue with stick in hand. Where do you see a statue with a stick in hand? Where do you see? Okay, whose statue is like that with the stick in hand? In the observation of the Bhagavad. Anybody? Ah, Gandhi. Correct. Very good. Ram Subramaniam. Gandhi. Very correct. And a crow is sitting on Gandhi's head. And he's got a stick in his hand and he cannot do anything about the crow. Why? A crow comes and sits on the head. Even though he's got a stick in his hand, he cannot do anything to chase the crow away. Why? Why? It's stone, sir. It has no life. It's stone. It has no life. What is the difference between the component material that went into the stone and the material of your body? That's the analysis the student has done. What is the component material that went into the statue, and what is the component material that went into your that went into making your body? What is the difference? That is the question. Keneshitam padati preshitam manah kenah pranah prathama praiti yuktah. That's the question. Something is happening here, something is not happening there, even though both are made up of the same material. What is the difference? Same body. People call it as dead body. The insects comes, the ant comes, isn't it? The mosquito comes. Now when the ant comes, what happens? When the fly comes, what happens? You shoo it away. At another point of time, the body is there. Somebody has to be there to shoo the fly away, ant away. What has happened there? What is happening here? This is the observation. This is the question. So what is the observation now? By observation, the student has understood a few facts of what life is. What are the few facts of life? It is an object of experience. As long as you are focusing on the object of experience, the subject is missed. When you are focusing on the object of experience, what is missed on that focus on object? The subject is missed. That's why, how much ever sciences have advanced, we say it will not help you to know Brahman, because you need to know, you have to worry about the subject. And what is the subject? We studied in the previous class the subject. What is the subject? The I. The I. The I is the subject. Now the focus is on the object. The first thing, what he does, he sees the world around and he understands what everything is experienced. When everything is experienced, there is a distinction between the experiencer and the experienced. The question is, who is the experiencer? The question is not on what he is experiencing. The question is not about what one is experiencing. The question is, who's the experiencer? Body. No, not the body. The pranas. Because the body is there, pranas have gone, isn't it? Sometimes the body is there and we go and bury the body or burn the body. I don't know what we do. Or we give it to medical college. Doesn't matter. Either we burn it or we preserve it or whatever we do with it. Something is gone. What is that? That something is called Pranas have gone. It means body is inferior, prana is superior, and then something above the prana is there, which is the mind. Something about the mind, something above the mind is there, which is the intellect. All are made up of matter only. By themselves, they are like Mahatma Gandhi in a stone. You have to go and clean him, isn't it? The crow sits, the pigeon sits. What do? The crow comes and sits on the statue. What do? When the pigeon comes and sits on the statue, what do? They dirty it. So poor Gandhi, he can neither chase the crow away, pigeon away, nor he can clean himself, isn't it? So you have to go and chase the crow away, and you also have to clean. It means by itself, it doesn't have sentiency. So something is lending sentiency to it. What is it that is lending sentiency to everything that is matter? What is it that makes matter looks alive? What is it that makes matter appear as though they are alive? That is the question. We will read the text and then we will come to the explanation later. So the fourth one he found. So the five things are the five are the students understanding reflections of the world. What is it? It is an object of experience. It's made up of matter, panchabhutas. 3, it has got varieties of attributes perceptible to the sense organs, even though it is made up of the 5 panchabhutas, the 5 elements. You don't see the 5 elements. You only see the elements. You only see the individual attributes, individual qualities, and those individual attributes, qualities is what we call as nama rupa. It is an object of experience. It is made up of material, matter. Matter means made up with some material. That's why it's called matter. Matter means made up of some material. Spiritual means devoid of matter. That's only different. I'm not, because all these things we should be knowing by now. Material means that which is made up of matter. Spiritual means that which is devoid of matter. That's the difference. What is the third one? It is experienceable through the sense organs because it is endowed with nama rupa. The fourth one is it is subject to change. It is subject to change. Even the sun is dying, but thank God we will not be witnessing the death of the sun, isn't it? Because they say that the sun is also dying, but it will take, I don't know, some 10 billion years for the sun to die, and we won't be alive. Therefore, we are safe, isn't it? Therefore, we are safe. So, at the micro, it is changing. At the macro, it is changing. The fifth one is temporary. The fifth one is temporary. And this temporary can be understood in 2 levels. One is the ordinary level, another is the Upanishadic level. The temporary again can be understood at 2 levels. One level of understanding temporary is what? One way of understanding the temporary is it has a birth, it has a death. Therefore, it is temporary. What is the Upanishadic idea of temporary? What is the Upanishadic idea of temporary? The arrival and departure. Agama payinaha We have seen that already. Agamapaya. That is, all that has a birth will die. Now, therefore, it is temporary, and all that is seen from one level, it is temporary. What is temporary at the Upanishadic level? The temporary at the Upanishadic level is this world that you are experiencing is available only in this state. In the dream state, different person, different world. Dreams, deep sleep state, different person, different world. Whenever the Upanishad talks something about temporary, you should understand it as temporary from this angle. Whenever in the normal language, in the Bhagavad Gita language, when we talk about temporary, what you understand as temporary there? Observational temporary. What is that? It has a birth, it has a birth, it has a death. Therefore, that which has all that is born will die, etc. That is one way of understanding the temporary. The Upanishadic way of temporary is what? This world is available only when you are in this particular state. When you are in this particular state, it is available. When you are in the waking state, it is available to you in the waking state. The class may be happening in the waking state, and if you are in the dream state, what will happen? Yeah. Isn't it? It is happening, but you are in a different state, or in the deep sleep state. So temporary means it exists. When you enter the waking world, it appears, and when you leave the waking world, it disappears. Please understand, temporary means that. Are you able to follow? Please understand, temporary means that. What is temporary? Temporary means that which exists only when you enter and leave when you leave that. It means waking world started when? Okay. For us in India, waking world started when? Half an hour munadi. Just half an hour before it started, isn't it? Hong Kong, it started long back, isn't it? Somewhere else it is night. We are going to. So the world appears when you enter the waking state, and the world disappears when you. The world enters when you enter the waking state, and the world disappears when you leave the waking state. It means you experience. When you are in the waking world, you experience something. When you are in the dream world, you experience something. When you are in the deep sleep, you experience something else. Therefore, what is temporary? Agama payinaha, they come and go. What is it that come and go? The waking state comes and goes. The dream state comes and goes. The deep sleep comes and goes. A student has done all the study and analysis by oneself and comes and asks a question. So all this preparation the student has done. With this preparation, the student comes and asks the question. What the question is and what the answer is, we will see now by reading the text. And then we'll go to the explanation. We'll read the text.
Upanishad pronounces the reality. Upanishad is one of the Upanishads in the Vedas, the ancient scriptural texts of India. The Upanishad presents a vivid picture of the supreme reality as the self within. Therein, an enlightened master imparts the knowledge of God to an evolved seeker yearning to receive it. The Upanishad commences with the question put forward by the disciple to the master. The disciple queries, what is that which enables the organs of perception and action to function? What causes the pranas, the physiological faculties, to function? What drives the mind and intellect to feel and think? In effect, the disciple yearns to know what powers the material equipments to function. The master answers with a startling revelation of the reality. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso mano yadvachoha vacham savu pranasya pranaha chakshushas chakshuh. That which indeed is the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, the speech of the speech, the prana, vital air of the prana, and the eye of the eye. In providing the answer, the Guru follows the fundamental principle of education that knowledge can be imparted only through terms known and not through unknown terms. Any number of unknown factors, however relevant, cannot convey the knowledge of the unknown. Nevertheless, God has been indiscriminately expressed in terms such as infinite, eternal, immortal, etc., which per se are incomprehensible. In the Kenopanishad, the Guru ingeniously uses all known terms to explain the unknown God, meticulously presents a perfect image of God with known words and phrases. God as the ear of the ear, eye of the eye, speech of the speech, prana of the prana, mind of the mind. Stating God as the ear of the ear, the Guru uses the possessive case in grammatical declension. The first year should be read with a capital E and the second year with a small e. The second year is what is commonly known to everyone. The first year refers to God. God is stated as the real ear. Applying the same principle to other faculties, God is described as the real eye, speech, prana, and mind. The use of the possessive case establishes two distinct ears. The first ear is the source of the second ear. Therefore, to locate God, you will have to trace back to the original ear, the original eye, the original speech, etc. The primal source of hearing or speaking, feeling or thinking, the primeval cause of all activity. When a person is asked to locate his ear, he points out to the fleshy organ, outer ear, the pinna, called golaya in Sanskrit. In fact, the golaya has the least to do with his hearing. Yet he points that out as his organ of hearing. Let him lose his outer organ pinna. He will still claim that his ear is functioning if the tympanum, the inner membrane of the ear, is intact. Let the membrane be ruptured. He still manages to hear, maintains he has the ear to hear. Thus you trace back hearing to the sense centers called Jnana Indriya in the subtle body where hearing is registered, where the consciousness illumines the sound. Hence, to locate the real source of hearing, you need to step back into the subtler aspects of the instrument of hearing until you hit the consciousness. The actual ear cannot therefore be the fleshy outer organ, nor merely the tympanic membrane, nor the various parts that lead to the sense center of hearing. All these play their part only to be ultimately illumined by the consciousness, the Supreme Self. Therefore, the Self, the Godhead within, turns out to be the real ear, which is the first ear. The same principle holds good for the rest of the human equipments. Tracing back the function of each equipment, you reach the consciousness. In effect, the true organs of perception, organs of action, physiological faculties, mind and intellect emanate from consciousness, from God. Prepare a chart with two columns. Left column will bear the ear with a capital E and the right column with the ear with a small e. Under the capital E, note down pure consciousness, Supreme Self, God. Under the right column with a small e, organs of perception, organs of action, physiological faculties, mind and intellect. The right side of the chart lists the human equipments. The left side, the pure consciousness that enlivens them all. The ignorant focus their attention upon the equipments and their functions, which are ever changing, perishable, terrestrial. The wise turn towards consciousness, the Supreme Self within, which is changeless, imperishable, transcendental. Hence, shift your attention from the material equipments to the self within. Fix your focus upon the consciousness, from the object of perception to that which enables you to perceive, from action to that which enables you to act, from emotion to that which enables you to feel, from thought to that which enables you to think. You will then be freed from the changing, perishable, terrestrial world. Reach the changeless, imperishable, transcendental reality. Become one with the self, pure consciousness, God. The Upanishad further elucidates the concept of God with a quintessential definition. Anya deva tad vidita tato avidita dadi. That indeed is other than the known and the unknown. The definition provides two powerful words, viditam, known, and aviditam, unknown, for the seeker to contemplate and lead the stream of reason to reach the ultimate reality, God. These two words present three broad interpretations to help in the process of contemplation. The first interpretation suggests a simple practical explanation. Life covers areas of your knowledge as well as your ignorance. The known realm covers all that you know in the world. The unknown realm, what you do not know. But then you claim you know what you know, also know what you do not know. For example, you affirm you know the English language. You equally affirm you do not know the Sanskrit language. The knowing principle which knows what it knows is the same which knows what it does not know. You're conscious of your knowledge, you're conscious of your ignorance. The consciousness which illumines your knowledge illumines your ignorance as well. That pure consciousness is your Supreme Self, God. The second interpretation of the known and unknown relates to the microcosm. It equates viditam, known, to the gross and subtle bodies, action, feeling, and thought, which are in the realm of the known, and aviditam, unknown, to the causal body, vasanas, which is not known. The self-God is the consciousness which enlivens the three bodies, which is beyond the known and the unknown. Known could also refer to the waking and dream states, and unknown to the deep sleep state. The self-God is the pure consciousness which enlivens the states of the waking, dream, and deep sleep. God is beyond the known waking and dream and the unknown deep sleep. The third interpretation of the known and unknown covers the macrocosm. Viditam, known, refers to the pluralistic phenomenon of the world, and aviditam, unknown, to the substratum that supports it, to the perishable world and the imperishable substratum. God is said to be beyond the known and the unknown, beyond the perishable and the imperishable. Again, the perishable and the imperishable are intellectual concepts. God is beyond intellectual conception, inexplicable, inconceivable. Hence, God is indicated as beyond the known and the unknown. God cannot be conceived just as light cannot be seen. Consider sunlight passing through a hole in the roof of a warehouse and striking the floor below. You see the light at the hole above and the spot on the floor, but you do not see the light passing between the hole and the spot. However, when the floor is swept, the dust particles rise and fill up the room. The particles bathed in light form a solid beam. The light reflected in the particles is what is seen. But there was light even before the dust particles rose to form the beam. So what is seen is light plus the particles of dust. The particles per se are unseen. Therefore, light is beyond the seen and unseen. Similarly, matter per se is not known. What is known is consciousness plus matter. Hence, consciousness, God, is beyond the known and the unknown.
The question that the student is asking, Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha. Since it starts with the word Kena, the Upanishad is called Kenopanishad. Starts with the word Isa. It's called Isavasi Upanishad. It comes in the it starts with the story. It's called Kathopanishad. So the question that here is asking is Kena. Kena Isitam Patati. What is it that drives it? What is it that makes the matter, the inert, appear? The opposite of inert is, what is the opposite of inert? What is it that makes the inert opposite of inert is? What is the opposite of inert? The opposite of inert is conscious. What is it that makes the inert appear conscious? What is it that makes the dead one look alive? Ishitam patati. What is it that kena? What? What powers it? What impels it? What makes it look alive? Because he has already understood. What he has already understood? All the five is made up. The world is the everything is made up of. What has he understood? Everything is made up of matter, and matter means that which is lifeless by itself. So what is it that he has done? The homework. The world is inert by nature. If it has life in itself, this question is an irrelevant question, correct? This question is an irrelevant question. If you go and ask a medical professional, it's a very irrelevant question. If you ask somebody in the modern who has not studied the philosophy, but in the modern science, it's a very irrelevant question because it is conscious, sir. The fact that you are calling it as inert is wrong. On what basis you are calling it as inert? That is wrong because it is not inert. Okay, if it is not inert, then why not chase the crow away? That's the question. If it has life, why not chase the crow away? No, no, no. That is inert, but this is life. Are you able to see the shift in understanding? You will say that is stone, but this is life. And when you say this is life, the discussion has shifted from the object to the subject. Now, what is it in the subject? It is life. Is it the body? That's the question. Is it the organs of perception and action that got life? Is it the pranas? Is it the mind and intellect? If these equipments, are they matter or is something enlivening them to function? We don't have this problem at all. This person is having the problem. Yeah. Now we are discussing a problem which we don't have, so it will be unappealing only. What problem will be appealing to us? How to handle the boss, how to handle the partner. See, yeah, isn't it? What will interest you? Your problem only will interest you. Will somebody's problem interest you? You will be interested only with your problem. You will not be interested in the problem of somebody else. Similarly, we can never understand the problem of this person here. What is the problem of the Kenoparishad person? Now, in this classroom, we are all theoretically assuming that we are also having the same problem. So at least we assume that. We don't have it, but at least we assume that we have this problem and we listen to this question and the answer. So what is the problem that the person here is having? What is his problem? His problem is only one. What makes the material equipments to function? It means he is so thoroughly convinced that all this is matter. By itself, the sense organs are matter. By itself, the mind is matter. By itself, the intellect is matter. All are matter by itself. And matter by itself doesn't have any life. Something must. What is it that is enlivening it? Organic chemistry, they will teach you. Everything organic is carbon by nature, isn't it? It's called organic chemistry. No? Everything that is organic by nature is fundamentally made up of carbon. Carbon and you all have seen carbon, no? Yeah, charcoal. Correct. There's another carbon, diamond also, which we all want to see, but we don't get to see. So they say it is all carbon. But where does rest of the things come from? That is the question. What is it that gives life to it? So the challenge here is what? At the first step itself, we have a challenge. What is the challenge? To understand all this is matter. And here is a student who has crossed that point. What is crossing that point means he is convinced that all this is matter. The fact that all this is matter means anything happens to the matter will not matter to you. That's how it works. Anything that happens here will not matter. Otherwise, everything that happens here matters, isn't it? Why? Because you don't see it as inert. So here is a student who's seeing the organs of perception, the organs of action, the pranas, the mind, the intellect, the external world, all are inert by nature. That state he has crossed. That understanding and conviction he has developed. The question is, based on this understanding, he is asking and is coming and asking the Guru a question. What is it that makes the material equipments to function? And the Guru doesn't say Brahman, the Guru doesn't say Atman and all. He says Shrotrasya Shrotram. What makes your ear to function? Ear. What makes your eyes to function? Eyes. What makes your prana to function? Pranas. What makes your mind to function? What makes your mind to function? Prasad. What makes your mind to function? Mind. Avladhan, correct. What makes your intellect to function? Intellect. Upanishad is over. The question is, what makes the eyes to function? The answer is eyes. What makes the ear to function? Ears. Srotrasya kene siddham patati. What drives it? Kena. What? What drives it? What drives it? The answer is, what makes the eyes to see? Eyes. The question that he is asking is, what is it that makes the eyes to see? And the answer that he is giving is the eyes. And this book we are considering as a very valuable book, and we are sitting and studying. Yeah. Might as well we all can go and have our breakfast and do our job, isn't it? Next, we can continue with our work rather than reading a book like this. That which indeed is the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, the speech of the speech, the prana of the prana, the eye of the eye. It means there are two eyes. It means there are two ears. It means there are two minds. It means there are two intellects. Or intellect purila, isn't it? Where? What is the two eyes, two mind, two pranas, two intellect? Imagine that society, at least now you can have a printed book, no? capital E, small e, isn't it? Whereas in the Upanishad, there is no capital E and small e and all. But they understood the difference. There is no capital E here and small e here. It says Shrotrasya Shrotram. At least nowadays we are able to have a printed book. The Guru is able to tell us capital E and small e. Edo puriyardinge, isn't it? Imagine at that society where there is no, and the Upanishad is over, and rest of the Upanishad is only an explanation of this mantra. And then he goes on to explain Anya Devatad Vididhadado Avididhadati. That we will take up later. First we will study this Shrotrasya Shrotram. What makes the matter to be alive? In the example of the gadget and the electricity, it is easy to understand. The example of the gadget and electricity. What is the gadget? Fan is the gadget which is moving, which can be seen. Electricity, the invisible principle, is making the gadget move. In the example of the fan, in the example of the gadget and electricity, it is easy to understand. How do you understand the same thing in relation to the body, mind, intellect, instrument? And how do you understand them as the fan? How do you understand them as the fan? And electricity is that which enlivens it. That's where the homework helps. That's where the homework the student has done helps. Now you should not ask what is the homework. No? What is the homework? What is homework the student has done and asking this question? It is an object of experience. It is an object of experience. When you wake up, that's why you should not jump out of bed and worry and all. When you wake up, you should observe. Yeah. Waking up is a very good contemplative experience. Sleeping is not a contemplative experience because you don't know what is happening. No. Yeah. Waking up is a very good contemplative experience. What is a contemplative experience that you can observe when you wake up? First, what wakes up? The mind wakes up. And then it becomes aware of the body. And then the body wakes up and it becomes aware of the world around. Do you know what is happening in this? Vijay Rangan, Purida. This is how it is happening for the last 60 years, huh? How many years? 70 years maybe. Okay, 70 years. So when you wake up, what wakes up first? The mind wakes up. And the mind wakes up and body becomes the object of experience. In a flash, the body becomes the subject, and what becomes the object? The world around becomes the object. The question that he is asking is, since all are object of experience, what is it that is enlivening it? So he has understood the world is an object of experience. Not only the world is an object of experience, the body, mind, intellect, instruments themselves are experienced. Therefore, what is it that is experience? What is it that is enlivening it? Who is it that is experiencing it? So first is understood. What are the things the world is? It is made up of, it is experienced as an object. Second, is made up of matter. Third, it has its own specific nama rupa. The fourth one, it is constantly changing. And what is the fifth one? Temporary. And by temporary, it means the world started when in the Vedantic temporary. According to the science temporary, it is they have a different time. According to Vedantic temporary, when did the world start? When you wake up. It means the world is only what few hours, or if you have just woken up, it means the world is only a few. It means only a few minutes. It means only a few hours. Vedantic definition of temporary. All this makes him to understand one thing very clear. What? The instruments are also made up of matter only. Having understood that all this is made up of matter, the question is, what is it that powers the matter? What is it that powers the matter to life? What is it when it leaves, it becomes inert? It becomes inert again. When something enters, it appears as though it is alive, and when it leaves, it becomes inert again. What is that which makes it alive, and what is it that makes it inert? The question, not the answer. That is the question. Answer should be very clear, no? Isn't it? Question is very clear, isn't it? The problem here with the communication skill, the student has asked the question. The student has asked the question very precisely, very clearly. Guru didn't know. Guru is the one who's complicating the answer. What is the answer he's giving? What is it that makes the eyes to see? The question. The answer is the eye of the eye. Shrotrasya, Shrotram, Manaso, Mano, Vachoga, Vacham, Pranasya, Pranaha, Chakshusa, Chakshuhu. And then the mantra continues. Chakshusha, Chakshuhu, Atimuchya Dhiraha, Pretyasmat Loka Amrita Bhavanti. Whoever knows this, ear of the ear, eye of the eye, they are the wise one, they are the Dhiraha. Dhiraha means the wise, strong ones. They attain Amritatvam. So we read the entire mantra. We read the complete mantra. Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Mano Yadvachoga Vachosahu Pranasya Pranaha Chakshushas Chakshuhu Kama. Because all this there is no comma semicolon, is not there. Yeah. Kama. Atimuchya Dhiraha Kama Pretyasmat Loka Amrita Bhavanti. That's the mantra. Meaning, the ear of the ear. The first ear should be read with a capital E, and the second ear should be read with the small e. The small e is known to everyone. The capital E is not known to anyone. The Dhiraha knows that. That's the mantra. All knows the small e, and nobody knows the capital E. And the capital E is the I, which is there with you all the time, connected to the previous topic. Everybody knows the small e, nobody knows the capital E. And the capital E is not somewhere outside. The capital E is always with you. You can never miss it. But you are missing it. Why? Your attention is on the small e. What is the small e? Very few places only Swamiji goes into this technical explanation. Otherwise, he keeps it very simple and very simple. And this we know already. When something is done very simple, much work has gone beyond it. If something has to be simple, much work when it goes into it, only something can be made simple. Here, what is the most simplest thing? The possessive case in grammatical declension. Stating God as the ear of the ear, the Guru uses the possessive case in grammatical declension. Don't worry, the grammatical declension. What it means is there are the two. Possessive case means what? Anybody? Can anybody explain what is possessive case grammar? Don't worry, we'll be continuing the same mantra and in the next session also. Hopefully we conclude in the next session. Hopefully we will conclude. What does possessive case means? Possessive case. Grammatically, the Guru uses the possessive case in grammatical declension. Then grammar. Yeah. Noun is in possession of the subject of the sentence. Nothing I understood. Anyway, he is saying, simplify பண்ணி சொல்லுங்கன்னா, that is more complicating than, it's more complicating than what I am saying. Possessive case is an indication of the possessor and the possessed. It explains a relationship. That's all it means. It means a connection, the possessor and the possessed. So ear of the ear means there is the possessor and then there is the possessed. Yeah. Tendulkar's bat, correct. Yeah, as a possessive case. Bat, there is no possessor there. It is an object. Tendulkar's bat. Who wrote the Tendulkar's bat? I didn't see the name, but I saw that because it's so confusing. I saw somebody wrote it. And whoever wrote it, very good. That is the possessive case. It means there are two. What are the two? There is the ear and then there is another ear. The small e is known, the capital E is not known. What is the small e? You analyze the small e and then you'll end up in the capital E. That's the process of known to the unknown. So you don't start from the capital E and come to the small e. Yeah. Tamasic intellect isn't it? Tamasic intellect is ulta. From the capital E, you want to come to the small e. What is sattvic intellect? Known to the unknown. So from the small e, you trace back, and hit the capital E. What is the small e? It starts with the ear, the fleshy organ. What do you call as ear is the fleshy organ, the outer ear. Golaya. But then we understand that The Golaya is only the fleshy organ. It has got nothing to do with the hearing. In reality, what actually hears the Indriya, the Jnana Indriya, the sense center. So there is the sense object, there is the sense organ, and then there is the sense center. But then the sense center alone cannot do it. Why? Because the mind has to be there to notice it. Therefore, from the Golaya, you come to the Indriya. From Indriya, you come to the mind. And again, mind alone is not there. The discriminating faculty also has to be there, the intellect. So all this is small e. Where did small e start? Where did small e start? What is the starting point of the small e? அதுதான் தோப்புக்காரனை போடணுன்றது இல்லையா? That's why you should do that. You should do that. Correct. Do that. Where does the start from? Start from here. The small e starts from here and trace back. It hits the capital E. That is Shrotrasya Shrotram. What is a capital E? The capital E is the consciousness. Capital E is the consciousness that vitalizes the ear to hear. Consciousness is the principle that vitalizes the pranas to function, the mind to function, the intellect to function. So respective instruments do their functioning only when the capital E is, and the capital E enlivens it. So what is the question? What makes the ears to hear? We'll just restrict it to one sense organ and then use it and extend it to all instruments. We will sit with only one sense organ. So the one sense organ that we take up is Shrotrasya Shrotram, because that is the first one he uses, so we'll stick to that. So what is the example? What is analysis? What is it that makes the ears to hear? Is it the fleshy organ? Is it the Indriya? Is it the mind, the subtle body? Here we use the word mind in the sense of mind and intellect combined, or you can take it separately also. The mind and then the intellect. Up to here you can come and you'll hit a dead end. Up to here you can come logically and you will hit a dead end. The Guru comes where you hit a dead end and he takes you. The student has come to this point, that's why he's asking this question. Are you able to follow now? The student has done all the work and he has hit the dead end. Now the Guru comes and opens up the door there, opens up the gate. How does he open it? Simply by saying Shrotrasya Shrotram. I don't know what the Guru said and what the student understood. The Shishya prostrates and says, thank you for your teaching. Thank you for your teaching. Just that Shrotrasya Shrotram. The ear of the ear. So where do you start the analysis from? The fleshy organ. To come to this analysis, there is a prior analysis. There is a preparation. What is the preparation? From the object to the ear is already done. From the object, it has shifted to the ear. It means the shift has happened from the object to the subject. Where does Vedanta start? Where does Vedanta start? When you are no more interested in the object and the attention has shifted to the subject. But we use Vedanta to pay attention to the object only. Vedanta Pacha, I can deal with the world better, no? If you are studying Vedanta means the world doesn't matter anymore. Then only you are studying. So the shift happens. What is the shift? From the object to the subject. Therefore, the analysis starts from where? Starts from the fleshy ear. That's why the analysis starts from the fleshy ear. It doesn't start with the world, because that is very elementary stuff which the student has already done and passed. Therefore, it starts from where the student is. So where the student is focused on the subject. Now, where do you start on the subject? From the body, meaning the fleshy organ. So the Guru starts with the fleshy organ and goes backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards and comes and says, various parts that leads to the sense center, from the sense center to the mind, from the mind to the intellect. And you can't stop there. Why? Because all this is object of experience, and therefore there has to be a subject behind it, and that subject is the capital E. That subject is the capital E, the ear of the ear. So, what is God? What is Brahman? What should be your answer? Ear with the capital E. Yeah. What is God? Guru. You should say ear. What is Brahman? You should say ear. Ear with the capital E. Then can Upanishad is understood. Then can Upanishad is understood. And there is one more portion, Viditam, Aviditam, which we will take up in the next session. We'll study a little bit of this again, and then we'll study that also. We'll continue into the next session.